So you still have all your posters up?
Well, we have many. I've collected many over the years.
Welcome to Hollywood East, Martin Scorsese's Manhattan office.
This is it.
This is it.
Where he edits his films and screens old favorites.
You have, of course, all your posters, as you
Jacques
always
Tourneur
do.
films. I like his films.
It's a wall-to-wall shrine to the greats of the past.
And most of them are kind of the older directors.
I think for me, it's like just trying to stay in touch with that initial creative impulse and say, I want to do that. I want to do something like that. Or
Something really different.
The inspiration. Yeah.
One inspiration, and the subject of Hugo, is the pioneering filmmaker Georges Méliès.
Méliès actually was a magician, and so he understood the possibilities of a motion picture camera.
Good night. Poised for the attack.
Hugo is a tribute to Méliès. In the film, Scorsese shows just how the old magician did his tricks.
That's great. You can go. Pyrotechnics in, please. Knights, please don't move. Freeze.
Méliès, who directed over 500 films between 1896 and 1913, was the inventor of special effects.
One of the things that I just loved in Hugo was seeing the old footage from Méliès. The hilarious, brilliant things that he shot. He really, the invention of humor on film.
Because he invented everything, basically. He invented it all. When you see these colored images moving, the way he composed these frames and what he did with the action, it's like looking at illuminated manuscripts moving.
But by the end of World War I, Méliès was a forgotten man, reduced to selling wind-up toys in a Paris train station.
This is the book that the movie's based on.
We did this exactly, this shot.
That shot, you did.
Yeah, the eye too.
Hugo is an orphan who lives in a Paris train station that he rarely leaves, viewing the world from behind a giant clock.
This is what got me really interested in making the film, the way he's looking through the clock.
In the movie, it's Hugo who rediscovers Méliès and his films.
Come and dream with me.
In other words, it's a heartwarming children's movie with a happy ending.
So, Hugo, no stabbings, no shootings, no gunfire, no one gets whacked. Is Martin Scorsese going soft on us?
Well, you know, have I mellowed in a sense? From what was the last picture, Shutter Island? I mean, for me, the story is something that opened up a whole new way of approaching cinema. But primarily, it really is a connection with the children.
A sweet connection with children? Are we talking Martin Scorsese? This is what you usually think of when you say directed by Martin Scorsese. Here he is at the Golden Globes, accepting the Best Director Award for Hugo and explaining why he made the film.
And I have to thank my love to my wife, Helen, and because we have a 12-year-old daughter, Francesca, her name is, and she said to me, why don't you, read this book, and why don't you make a film that our daughter could see for once? So we did. And
She's gotten older now.
Can I ask you how old you were when you had your...
Late in life.
Yeah.
I think about 56, 57.
That must have been life-changing for you.
You know, it really is life-changing. I didn't quite understand. It's rediscovering the world through the kids.
This is such a different man from the one we first met in 1996 for a 60 Minutes profile.
Everybody says, you want to know Marty Scorsese, go see his movies. Then you'll get him.
Yeah.
And your movies are so much about anger.
Yeah.
Now, are you that...
Always. I've been in a bad mood 25 years.
Back then, he took us to his old New York City neighborhood where he'd grown up a lonely and sickly child.
And you'd be right up here, looking out.
Yeah.
As a young boy, he was so ill with asthma, he spent a lot of time indoors at the movie theater. He couldn't go outside and roughhouse with the other kids. He could only watch them from his window.
Last time I interviewed you, we went to where you grew up, and you showed us that you spent all your time in that window.
That's right.
Looking out.
Interesting, yeah.
And there's Hugo up in this enclosed space, looking out through the numbers, but nevertheless. I thought he made a movie about himself.
I mean, that I think was the first connection. I love the idea of a young person who's unable to join in because of me with my asthma and that sort of thing. But I was able to, that third floor front window is sort of like a panoramic image of life.
The window frame was his movie screen, and while he observed life from up there, he began dreaming up films of his own.
Because of this illness, I really couldn't participate. I was always observing. I was in it, but at the same time, I really couldn't fully.
You were a
yeah,
voyeur,
yeah.
like Hugo.
Like Hugo, yeah.
But Scorsese is also like Méliès, the magician, who's always experimenting with the latest technologies, which is why Scorsese shot Hugo in 3D.
You're not going to see 3D like Avatar. You're not going to see things flying out of you.
No. I wanted to use 3D as another storytelling element. The way we're sitting here now is 3D. So why can't we use that as something? We use color, we use sound, we use movement. The way Méliès did it, he was inventing it as he went along, and we found ourselves in a similar situation with the 3D, because every time we put the camera in place, it was the added element of depth. It was like a tightrope. Once we started on it, we couldn't go back.
you at that point didn't know what you were going to get in the edit room. Wow.
We were wondering if the changes in Scorsese's personal life, happily married to his fifth wife Helen, attentive father, have spilled over into his work habits.
You know, when we interviewed you, you told us that you'd been angry for 25 years. Mm-hmm. And that you were banging phones, breaking phones.
I still dislike phones, yeah.
You were a raging guy.
Yeah.
Do you still rage?
Yes, I think so. But what happens now is that I'll go off in a room, let me get past this, and move on. Figure out, okay, what are the facts? Forget the emotion.
I like this ending.
That's a nice ending, yeah.
Thelma Schoonmaker has been his editor for nearly 50 years.
You've done all those violent films. Look at you, and you're so nice.
She's been there when Scorsese has smashed editing machines.
He had a really bad temper.
Right. And when he was editing, the film would snag and break, and then he would get mad and he would hit the tiny little screen, thick glass, with his hand and break it. And so after a while, rental companies wouldn't rent to him anymore.
She's also seen the Scorsese who dotes on his 12-year-old daughter, Francesca, perhaps even grooming her for a spot in the family business.
Every Saturday he screens 2 films for her, and he carefully picks them. And I remember once she was sitting with me in the editing room waiting for him, and she just blurted out, "I love Charlie Chaplin." And I thought, oh my God. Marty couldn't think of anything he would want to hear more.
So you show your daughter and her friends a movie every weekend. Let me make one observation. In 16 years, as far as I can tell, you have not lost any passion for films, for watching them, making them, talking about them, and loving them.
Yeah.
So what's next for Martin Scorsese? Well, he's directing and producing HBO's Boardwalk Empire, and on the big screen, there's an upcoming film about Jesuits in 17th century Japan, and a Frank Sinatra biopic. Maybe even...
Do you think that you'll do something on the internet?
Yes, I would think so, yeah.
Really? Like an internet YouTube kind of movie?
I don't know. YouTube, you mean like a little cat?
Like a little
cat eating milk, drinking milk? No.
No.
I'm not going to do that.
With a narrative, with a story.
Oh, yeah. Well, you see, the thing is this. Wherever it can be shown, I'm open to trying, because right now we're at a time, at the same time, there's great transformations taking place in communication, the same way as the period of George Méliès.